The day started off as any normal one. I got dressed, said goodbye to my dogs, and left for work. I felt pretty anxious as I left, but decided to try and ignore it for the night. But not even an hour into work, and it happened. There was some discounted food available when I decided to text my mom to see if she'd want to buy any. And when she replied back, time just stopped for me. When I was a kid, I was new to Texas. The transition was really, really tough for me because I got bullied a lot and I didn't have good control over my emotions. I left 2 of my dogs, Sniff and Dusty, behind when I moved. My mom thought getting me a new dog would help. But one day, my mom was out walking our newest dog, Juliet, when she found him. He was thin, he had a scar around his leg, and I don't know how, but somehow she was able to find his original owners. But he ran away from those owners again, and my mom found him again. She talked to his owners, and they said that their dog was too hyper. They had to tie his leg to a post to keep him in place, and despite having rescued him, they didn't want him anymore. She realized the scar around his leg was from the post they had him tied to, and from how skinny he wasn't eating right either. Or he wasn't being fed well, I should say. So she gladly brought him back home. We took him to the vet. We got him all fixed up. Got the rope that was still stuck around his leg cut off. And when we brought him back, my mom told me that he needed a new name. And I remember looking at him, looking at the big 4 spots on him, and deciding to call him Dice. The first few weeks were rough. He didn't recognize this as his new home yet, and kept running off. I was already attached to him though, and kept running after him whenever he'd run off, to bring him back. For whatever reason, my mom wasn't too invested in running after him, but no matter what, I was out there looking for him, even one time until 4 a.m. It took him a long time, but he finally accepted our place as his new home and got comfortable here. He made a little base underneath my mom's bed, dragging tiny boxes and clothes and whatever he could get under there. And that's when we learned something about him. He really, really loved food. My mom jokes that he got it from Juliet, since she would always get into food, but either way he loved it. One time, my mom had to go get the door, and left her dinner of 2 pizzas unsupervised. She turned around, it was gone. We had no idea what had happened, since Juliet was nowhere near the plate. Then I decided to look under the bed. Lo and behold, there's Dice in all his glory, chowing down on 1 slice of pizza because he'd already eaten the other one. And when I saw him, he just had this deer in headlight pose like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do anything. And my mom fell for the trick a second time. My mom had 2 pieces of toast and ham steak thing, one of those breakfast things. Went to answer the door, turned around again, boom. There's Dice, all the toast is gone, half the ham is gone too, and the other half is sitting in his mouth when he realized he got caught. One time I got curious about his little base underneath my mom's bed, and I decided to move the mattress to see what was under there. I guess whenever my mom would give him treats, which would be often because she spoils our dogs, he'd stockpile all the treats underneath the bed and just store them there. After Juliet passed away, he became the #1 food monster at our house. The major thing Dice did back then for me, he helped me meet friends, helped me balance my emotions more, kept me company on nights when I didn't feel that well. Back then, my emotions were really sporadic, but somehow he managed to help me with that, and I always gave him my thanks by giving him more treats and even pieces of my own dinner to eat. He always took naps with me, and I'd have to make room on my bed in case he ever wanted to go up there while I was asleep. That winter, we found out one of our dogs from where we used to live, Dusty, had to be put down. There was a bad winter storm that trapped his leg in a snowbank. So that spring we went up to where we were originally from with Dice and decided to bring Sniff back with us because it wasn't fair for him to be alone up there by himself. We couldn't bring Dice everywhere with us, and that made us realize just how panicked he would get when we weren't there with him. He tore apart my grandma's blinds to look out the window to see whenever we would get home. And when we finally did leave, Dice had a blast, realizing we were actually heading back to our home in Texas. He laid in the back of the car with Sniff just sleeping his entire way there. Sniff didn't last too long with us though. He had cancer. We had to put him down before Christmas for us. We wanted to keep him until after Christmas, but his cancer was so bad and he was in so much pain that there was just nothing more we could do. We just had to put him down. After losing Sniff, my mom started looking online for dogs. She loved Dice so much that she ended up fostering other rat terriers, the same type of dog Dice is. That's how he ended up with Charlie and Otis. Otis and Dice would always be running around the house playing together. Charlie would just hoard all the toys we had. I guess they both realized how much we cared about Dice though, because both of them always held respect for him like he was the alpha or something. We even had a dog named Whiskey, a beagle, whose owners didn't want him anymore, and he didn't care much for anything besides food and sleeping, and even he respected Dice. During the years, things were really rough for me. I was suffering through depression, dealing with the transition to being an adult, trying to figure out my own identity and who I am. But Dice was always there for me. Some mornings he'd be right there by my bedroom door, sniffing under it to try and wake me up. Sometimes when my door was open, he'd get on my bed and start shaking it to try to get me to wake my mom up. Whenever I went to the kitchen, he was right behind me to look and see what I was making. You know how sometimes you're hungry but you don't know what to eat, so you just open the fridge door and try to find what you can? Well, sometimes when I was indecisive on food like that, I just let him decide what I should eat depending on what he would look at. I'd be like, "Hey Dice, what should I eat today?" And he'd just do a little dance, go up to the door and start sniffing the different things we have, and I'd pick out from that. There are times where I'd be in bed doing something on my phone, and there he'd be getting under the covers with me. There's times where I was on the computer and he's right next to it trying to get my attention to make me pet him. There's times where he showed up in my videos. There's times where he's even showed up in my friends' videos. I've always told my mom that Dice was the only dog we had that was partially my dog. He was the only one who actually cared about me. Most of the time, Otis just wants people to pet him, but sometimes when I come home or come out of my room, he'd growl, bark, and snap at me for no reason. He only ever came to me to be petted or to hide from my mom when she's mad. Charlie only cares about my mom and sticks to her like glue. He only comes to my room when there are loud noises or when it's storming outside, and only when my mom isn't home. But Dice would always come and visit me, not even for any specific reason. He just wanted to be by me because he cared about me. And that's the reason he was my dog. I wasn't able to see Sniff most of the time growing up. When he passed away, it was like losing a brother. When Dusty passed away, it felt like I lost a part of my childhood. When Juliet passed away, the house we were in felt wrong and empty until we decided to move. She was always laying down by the door, guarding us, and just didn't feel safe after that. We got Whiskey so recently, and even he had to be put down earlier this year due to cancer. I can't walk around the house without expecting Whiskey to be somewhere sleeping and me have to step over him. But Dice was always there with me through all of that. He was always there to help me feel better. Throughout the 11 to 12 years we've had him, he's just always been there. I even had an agreement with my mom that even if I did finish college, I wasn't going to move out unless Dice passed away. I didn't want to take him from our home, and I didn't want to be separated from him either. But then that night happened. My mom told me to fill up the dog's water bowl, and I had forgotten to. She came home that morning and was yelling at me. She said Dice was sick from dehydration and that she was taking him to the vet. When she got back, she was crying. He didn't have dehydration. He had cancer of the blood. 3 months maximum to live, they said. So we did everything we could to help him. We gave him experimental medicine. We gave him special foods and a new diet. We did everything and more to make sure he was comfortable and hoped he'd live longer than just 3 months. The cancer was in his spleen, and dogs don't need spleens, I guess, so we ended up getting it removed. I'm even using my own money to help my mom with the bills for it. And I let myself get tricked into thinking that maybe Dice would get better. But I should know better than anyone. Cancer doesn't just go away. Whenever I left for my job, he always ended up having an episode. I knew he got stressed when I'm not home, but I needed to be there to help pay for all the stuff we were doing for him. You could always tell when he was having an episode because he wouldn't want to be around anyone. He'd be lethargic. Whenever I petted him behind the ears or petted his butt or all the places that he just likes to be petted, he just wouldn't respond. But every episode he had always passed and he was better in an hour or two. Over the past few months, I spent most of my time petting and taking care of him because we just had no idea how long he would actually have left. The vets warned us that it would just be a sudden thing. There'd be no real warning to it, but I wasn't expecting it. Wednesday, July 6th. My mom was texting me. She told me there was something wrong with Dice, that it was time for him to go, and I had to leave right now if I wanted to see him. I had no idea how bad it was, but I told my manager and left. I ran out the store, ran down the street, ran all the way to the vet, and got there just in time to see him. When I came in, Dice was panting and gasping for breath. Mom thinks the cancer had gotten to his lungs. There was nothing more that we could do. Usually, when we put one of our dogs down, we have the other dogs there too so they know what happened. But with how upset me and my mom were, I think Otis and Charlie know. My mom told me there was no time to get the others. Dice was suffering really badly, but he was still there. I told him everything I'd always told him before. I don't know why, but I apologized to him. I could tell he heard me because even though he was in pain, he was looking right at me as I spoke. Then they came in with the injections. I was still talking to him. I was still petting him, and the next thing I know, he was gone. I lost it. Losing him was like losing part of myself. I've lost a lot over the years, but he was one of the worst things to lose. I started hyperventilating. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move, and I nearly passed out in the room we were in. Mom got me out of there as quick as she could and brought me home. I needed help up the stairs. I still couldn't speak and I still couldn't breathe. She got me to my bed and had to get my work clothes off of me herself because I just didn't have the power to do anything. The next few days, whenever I tried to speak, I'd start stuttering. My entire body wouldn't stop shaking. I couldn't stop crying. I'm still having those episodes. I'm trying to hold one back right now, but losing Dice, I say it was just like losing part of myself, but I really did lose a part of myself that day. All the companionship, the support, the reassurance that he gave me just by being there. I don't have any of that anymore. He was and is the best dog I have ever had before in my life. And I'm never going to forget him. He meant the world to me. And I always knew that he did, but I never realized just how much he mattered to me until I had to live my life without him. So I wanted to make this video because it was so sudden. The other dogs didn't get to say goodbye, but I did. And he was important to me. And this channel is important to me too. So I wanted to do this. I wanted to immortalize him on this channel because he deserves that. He deserves that and so much more that we weren't able to give him. I'm never going to forget Dice.